Hi everybody, Pastor Tim here at Calvary Church here in Pueblo, Colorado, and this is the message recap, rewind, and bonus features from the message we had on January 23rd, 2022. Now we're in the book of Hebrews, we're right towards the end of chapter 4, actually at the end of chapter 4, and we see this great declaration about Jesus Christ being the high priest. And so we looked at that and we saw, first of all, in verse 14, which reads, "Since then we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavenly places, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold our confession." So this call to hold on to our confession and to be unwavering in our testimony and commitment to Jesus Christ is based on the fact that he's accomplished his work as the high priest. That's what it means that he passed through the heavenly places, is that he accomplished what heaven had in store for him, which was redeeming us. It's finished, it's accomplished. He's gone through it. He has finalized our relationship with God. And so we can hold fast our confession. We can believe it. We can have faith in what he's done. It moves into verse 15 and says, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weakness, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin." And we saw in that particular verse 15 of chapter 4, this idea of being connected. Jesus is connected to us in that he knows exactly what we're going through. He can sympathize with us. He can relate to us. And so often when people become rich and famous and have all these elevated positions above us, like the CEO of a company or a politician or a movie star or someone who's an influencer, all of a sudden they can become very disconnected with the common people. And we are the common people in relationship to God, but he can relate to us. He hasn't gotten a big head, and he hasn't forgotten what it's like to be human. He hasn't forgotten what it's like to wake up every morning and go to work and toil at life. He relates to us in every aspect, including those temptations of leaving him, including those temptations of denying him. He knows what that is like. He knows what it is like to be human, and he knows that we are frail. He knows that we are not as strong as we pretend to be. He knows our strengths and he knows our weaknesses, and he knows exactly what we need, and we need him. We need him as our great high priest to make right with God, to be able to forgive our sins and cleanse us, and to give us relief from guilt and sorrow and fear. And that is what Jesus gives us, because he knows how tempted we are to fall into that. He walked in our shoes, so he knows exactly what it is like to be us. So we can relate to him, and that is a beautiful thing, because we may not be able to relate to the owner of the business or the president or someone in power or authority or who's popular, who gets everything handed to them, or at least from our perspective it sees that way. And they can totally forget what it's like to be like us, common. But Jesus knows what it's like to be common. And so he can relate to us. And so that gives us, in the final verse, this beautiful confidence. Because in verse 16 of Hebrews chapter 4, it says, "Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in the time of need." What a beautiful place to end. Because Jesus has satisfied the law's demands, because he's gone through the heavenly places and accomplished all that heaven had designed for him to be our Redeemer. And because he knows exactly what it's like not just to be a Redeemer, but to be a human. Because he is so perfectly relatable and so good at his job, we can, with confidence, lay ourselves in front of that throne of grace and say, "Father, help." And he will. He answers that desperate call of help. It's my hope in this very short summary of what we've seen in Hebrews chapter 4, the end of it, that it inspires you and encourages you to go back to the entire message and service and listen to it. The songs match perfectly to the message, and the message matches perfectly to our need as believers. We need to have confidence to go before God and say, help me. And so whatever is stopping you from doing that, read and reread and re-listen to that message from this past Sunday, and it will give you encouragement and strength and resolve to carry through in going before the throne of grace. There's no better place to go when we have the needs of this life bearing down on us, but to the throne of grace and mercy that has been established by Jesus Christ, our great high priest. So until next time, we will see you online, or we will see you here live at Calvary Church in Pueblo, Colorado. Until then, bye.